Welcome back to Prince of Persia 2008. So it's time to put an end to this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a line in our game tonight.
Honestly, Jova, this is actually one of the first time that I'm gonna take a cue from Shiroi. I don't hate it. I just don't have any reason to care.
Oh, don't worry. That's what this ending is for. Like, okay.
Yeah, this ending is just for you.
Basically, Pedro, Mass Effect 3 is a good game up until the finale. Imagine if Mass Effect 3 were a bad, mediocre game, and then the finale just pushed it off into awful. Like, with the ending of Mass Effect 3, that just pushed it off into mediocre at worst as a whole. Yes, the ending really did affect things that much. Whereas this, oh boy. Let me put it like this. Not only did this make the game bad,
apparently for some reason, in order to reach the temple, you need to face basically these testing gauntlet where you need to use the power of all the black plates that you have acquired through the game.
Here's my major problem with this final arena. It looks cool, but there's no context to it.
Well, Jova, that's the thing. It's the same one we'll be using for testing the plates, so it's not like that different from them.
But that's the thing, though. It's like one of those. Here's the thing, though. Prince of Persia is a series that usually at least gives a good reason for why stuff is the way it is. Like, oh, the evil is getting stronger.
No, this has the same context as a bonus word in a Sonic game.
Yeah, and that's just not good, especially seeing as how we're getting near the final climax area here. Like, that should be where the story is trying to tie things together better, but no. Also, I love how you can just fly aimlessly around with those teleport things. Like, in theory...
It's very scripted, that's the thing. It's not like the Flight of Ormaz, the Wings of Ormaz, I think it's called.
Like, in theory, you'd think that, oh, maybe you could just take us straight to the end goal with this stuff, or is it on some set pattern? Never explained. Like, let me put it like this. Even in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, those teleporter ring things actually make sense in context, because yes, they'll take you on a set path, because Eggman made it that way. A Sonic game from the 90s explains stuff better than this game does. We're not even to the end yet.
This place looks like one of those sections from Skyward Sword where you have to stealth past the armor.
Yeah, we already also mentioned this. I remember
from Secret Rings.
Well, actually, sure, this is more like the beginning level from Secret Rings.
Starting from... That's nice, so don't fuck up.
Well, sure, at the very least we're not listening to Secret Rings in Hand like a million times.
No. It's 7 Rings in Hand, not Secret Rings in Hand.
Yeah, that's it. 7 Rings in Hand, yeah.
Maybe that song isn't as embedded in your head as you think if you fuck up.
Well, it's just a title.
But you know, it's a good thing you brought that up. It's like, oh, this is like the equivalent of the tutorial level from, say, from Sonic.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of songs I like.
Here we go.
Titles.
Or maybe I just misspoke.
You know how heroes are supposed to arrive in the nick of time? I think we missed our entrance.
He actually probably put a laugh track.
And now we're in the void.
And there we go.
Oh
the
no, he's
corruption
been
is
corrupted.
complete. The Morning King is the new general in Ahriman's army.
Well, don't you look edgy.
I am Edgelord, the edginess.
You took my life. You twisted everything.
Didn't he save your life?
And to see she wanted to die or something, I don't know.
Totally, I totally get that.
All that's missing is a Linkin Park song.
So all this lack of death in this game is making her want to die.
Join me, daughter, and I will complete your training.
Fuck off. Alright, time to round 3.
Wow, that was pointless and annoying. Let's fight.
I just misspoke, Jova. But
Fair
anyway,
enough. But yeah,
okay.
I love how the guy says, "Be free, set us free." Like, dude, what does that even mean? Like, the only way she can set you free is if she beats our man. Like, what else were you expecting?
And unfortunately, this is another one of those fights where you cannot push the opponent off the edge. So you have to cheese through the entire health bar.
of course you
Goes
can't.
down
He's
so slowly. And by the way, he can heal himself, so be forewarned about that.
Well, he can put up one of those barriers where you can heal him.
Well, of course you can't. You can't tell. He's too edgy for that. But anyway, that's,
Oh,
yeah, yes, it basically imitates the powers of the other generals. Anyway, you were saying, Java? Or if I you, Pedro?
me. That's a bunch of. I actually prefer the Crush 40 version of that song.
Oh, fair enough. No problem with that. But yeah, like I was saying, it's like, well, the lead up to this level, that feels like the equivalent of the tutorial level from Sonic and the Secret Rings. Here's the thing. That is the blandest level. But, you know, to be fair, it's the starter level. So, when I compare it to what is essentially the bland starter level of a first... Well, yeah, the first level of a game, that's not a good sign for your final level. Like,
especially considering how the Sonic series is usually very good with first levels. So
yeah, I know. I mean, granted, I was speaking negatively on this game's part. Like, you know, now the storybook for Sonic's tutorial level, that's actually kind of interesting. You know, you're literally traveling on the pages of a book. But here's the thing: there's a lot of blank background across because you're in the void. Like, there it makes sense. Not so much here. It's again no context. Like, if you're gonna make something look dull, at least try and explain it.
personally, Jova, I think this actually is more. I think this reminds me more of Night Palace, actually.
Yeah, I would say that, except, like, well, there's not so much the actual ruins being solid and the night sky around, but I guess if you're talking about the darkness, I guess it's comparable here and there.
I'm talking mostly about the architecture in general and the overall look of the...
Well, to be fair, couldn't you say that for, like, most of the game that's just been taking place in the ruins, then?
Well, the Night Palace is where there's a distinct predominance of the color blue, just like here. Whereas in most other levels go for either brown or yellowish.
I guess. Also, this fight is still going. Isn't it so exciting?
Thankfully, I learned to use a couple of new combos to chisel away more health at the same time. Otherwise, it would really go forever.
Headbutt. However you headbutt a demon like that. You know, being a demon in this world kind of sucks. Like, you're not immortal, you can get beaten easily with ease. Sure, you can come back a few times, but it seems like you just suffer more than you actually profit from it. Like, it's not even like they have something to rule over.
Are you done? Good.
There's no use, but why can't I defeat you?
Because I'm the Prince of Persia! Or am I?
No, you're not.
Does she die after you kill him?
He commits suicide.
He kills himself.
Well, I guess all I can do is commit suicide. Bye!
I'm guessing, okay, this is, like, really screwy, but did he just want the satisfaction of doing it himself?
Not just that, no, he actually used that to temporarily awaken Ariman.
How that does it is beyond me.
Our name is Alf Walalela.
Anyway, this final section, yes, this is the final section of the game, is an escape sequence where you see things from the perspective of Ariman. So
this is terrible.
Yes, because it's a fixed camera, so you have no idea where you're going.
Brilliant.
What better way to befit a terrible ending than have a terrible...
It's from his perspective, unless you quote-unquote die.
It's a good thing death doesn't mean anything.
Hey Java, now this gray filter is reminding me of Time. God, what's the name again? Time what?
Oh, Time Stop.
Yeah, Time Stop. That's it.
I mean, it's kind of an interesting idea. The problem is that they did not program it well in mind.
Also, some of the sections are kind of scripted, like in saying, "Oh, you think that Iron will throw a punch here and there to put an obstacle to you?" No, these are just some scripted sequences where you throw the punch only after you pass through a section. So
I can barely see anything though.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shiro.
Ew. Reborn in me, dude. Not cool. Not cool. So
see, the black and white filter in Cuphead is actually cool.
Yeah, because there it's actually made with the player's foresight.
Anyway, there you go. These are the ways to damage effectively Ariman. Basically, doing the same thing we did for the first round on this.
No, please don't flash me. No. So basically, we defeat the bad guy by flashing him.
Pretty much.
Everyone's being flashed in this like section.
Oh
it's
no, Dev! Like, you know, honestly, you know, you think that at any point they would actually lampshade the fact that no matter what you do, Elka will save you. It would be during this part, during, you know, the fight with the guy who gave her that ability. Like, our man must be slapping himself in the head thinking that he gave Elka that power. You know, that's...
Also, yeah, that was kind of bullshit.
What?
Basically, in
Okay.
those kind of sections, Ivan will raise temporarily the well, the water, corrupted water that it is right now in the temple. You need to stay in the glowing spot, but if you move, like, if you even tip an inch into the corruption around you, the prince it will count as a death.
My,
So you need to stay put until it retreats completely.
Again, how convenient that there just happens to be patches of light in our man's own lair, his very weakness.
Well, remember, this was this is not Ahriman's lair. It was a temple in which it was sealed, so it kind of makes sense
Okay,
to have
fair
countermeasures against it potentially.
Alright, fair enough. So, okay, but seriously though, so our man was just chilling out here and all it took was just Elka's father to go in there. So when you get down to it,
Fuck! Gone.
when you get down to it, if Elka's father had played it safe, he could have managed to maneuver it so that he would be outside and our man would just be stuck in here. In fact, why is Elka's father even that desperate to help our man? What, does Elka supposedly die if we beat our man?
He'll die if he's killed.
Well, it's so nice that the game never explains any of that to us. Like, okay, let's ignore the context of, oh, well, it would ruin the surprise. Dude, if your if your daughter's life hinges on it, why not try and tell her and the protagonist that? Like, you know, sure, it may not automatically dissuade them, but at least it would put some doubt in their minds, or at least it would explain why you're doing this or that. The whole stupid, I have to do this, you don't need to know my reasons, now die thing, didn't do you all the first 2 times as much as it did this 3rd time, you dummy. Oh, God. And believe it or not, we are not to the worst bit of this ending yet.
No, don't worry, the game is not over yet.
What fortune? Everything is wrecked because of you.
You know, that because Ahriman, with that kind of tone and behavior, I mean, clearly you're tempting the prince right now.
I mean, you're trying to kill us while you're saying all
this
this.
This is like if in End of Days, the Gabriel Burns devil was trying to immediately attack Schwarzenegger instead of trying to corrupt him at first.
It's like if I was playing Dragon Ball Z Connect, but I'm the opponents rather than Goku.
I know,
right?
Well, no, you would be incredibly broken if you were the opponent.
Shadow of the Colossus, this is not, sadly.
Alright. Dun, 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 dun.
I shall.
You know, another thing
If you
about
wish to
this,
sit here, I shall kill you all.
I shall kill you all, but you should totally join me. Like, seriously, our man, way to fix your priorities in mind.
You
man.
sound more like an edgy teenager who needs friends.
Also, you know what I love? How when he punches close to that white glow of light, it automatically blots out some of the light. So, can he actually attack those light bits, seeing as how apparently he can?
I remember
so
Dorman
maybe it's
being
just...
a lot.
Yes?
I remember Dorman being a lot cooler last time I played Shadow of the Colossus.
It was.
But at least you could even see aside from his arms.
I mean, I guess we got to see our man's face for a tiny second, I think, or was that just a bunch of glowing blue lights?
Well, remember, Java, Dorman is just a big horned black cloud demon. That's all he is.
Oh, I know.
With turquoise eyes.
Oh, I know that. I was talking about Ahriman.
Oh.
Well, we saw briefly his face during that shot. We also saw those flashbacks, remember, Joa, where we see his eyes. Oh, but now the camera changes.
How nice! A swift camera change. That won't disorient the players at all.
Whoop. I guess Erika just
okay, developers, here's an idea. If you want to have this be a fixed perspective, why not go full side-scroller? You know, it would have made this a lot better to play in terms. It would make it easier on the player, and at the same time, you can also again argue that it's supposed to be a kind of a throwback to the original game. There you go. See, like you could,
It's such a missed
you had such a.
opportunity.
It would be such a fantastic way of you being able to force this perspective on the player, while at the same time being able to make it fun and well designed. But no, you still maintain, even though you're kind of playing from a 2.5D perspective, you still have 3D movement.
Yep.
It's just it's knack. It's fucking knack. Oh my god, this knack ripped this game off.
Oh my god, you're
I
right.
prefer to play Knack than this.
Really? Well, that is debatable.
That's debatable. Yeah, can you give us the reason why?
Well, I guess at least Knack 2, I guess, but I would have more enjoyment with that.
Like,
I guess,
I mean, Knack 2. Okay, again, let's not forget, Knack 2 does some things better than Knack 1, but also does some things worse than Knack 1. Unbelievable.
Yeah. That's a vain job. I like I said in the commentaries, like donkey memes can only take you so far.
Oh,
Oh, there's a space. With all his mouse and everything.
And we died.
are we dead?
Is the game over? Oh.
No, we need to
Press
match
the
that button.
triangle to not die.
Oh, so it's just like at the end of God of War 3. Okay.
Or what is called? Yeah, the first Man in Black. We blasted through his way from the stomach.
Well, actually, I was mentioning that time where we literally filled the screen with blood.
Yeah, that too.
So, did we win?
I hope so.
Is the game over yet?
Oh,
Is it over
yes,
yet?
we did. Look at that. The tree of ceiling has been recompleted.
It's the Tree of Life.
We-
No.
Yay, we did it! Why do I not feel that accomplished?
Choose that.
Wait. Is this Beyond Two Souls now?
Oh no, it's not yet.
There we go. To complete the spell, Elika has to sacrifice her life since she was the catalyst to release Arian in the first place.
No, I'm so sad.
Hold me, sure.
I don't think she can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hold me then, too.
Sorry, I'm too busy looking at how the game is terrible.
And believe it or not, guys, we're not finished yet.
We're not done yet. You think that it would be, but no.
This would be a fine enough place to end things, mind you. I mean, the game would still suck, but...
Honestly, it would be pretty conclusive if you ask me. Sure, it's not
And
like
trailer shot!
Yeah, that. No, actually, no, this was not in the trailer.
Well, okay.
That would be spoilery.
Well,
that
to be
too.
fair, too,
And
let's not forget how...
Ubisoft is not the guy. Anyway, the reason why I'm standing still like that is because if you do so for 1 minute straight, you get a trophy.
Basically, too, let's
So I
not
say, yeah,
forget...
fuck it, I'm just gonna get it at the same time.
And too, let's not forget how the trailer pretty much had a scene of the prince carrying her in that very pose with her being unconscious. That's why I say trailer shot. Like, yes, I know technically this shot wasn't in the trailer, but the very pose and stuff they're doing was in the trailer.
Oh, I
which
was right, she
was
died.
kind of a giveaway.
Yeah, the reason why I'm standing still here is because soon enough I'm gonna get a trophy, so I'd say, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep it like that.
Basically, Shori,
It gives you time to say how much, this ending is so lackluster.
Basically, Shori, believe it or not, this pose was kind of spoiled by one of the trailers.
Well, remember, there was already one sequence where we carried on Elika like that, doing the warrior.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I
warrior
mean, it could
stage.
be pretty, like... Honestly, it's not really that spoilery. You don't know she's dead.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Why not?
from
She's
this...
just be sleeping.
Like, from this angle alone, like, you wouldn't know she was dead.
That's a thing. Shouldn't she be killed over if she's actually dead?
Again, it's one of those images. Is Elika sleepy? Not wrong. This person is deceased.
Not only that, that's the thing. The way he's holding her, you think she's just asleep, because if she's dead, she should be leaning all the way back. You know, like the famous
Remember,
pose.
it's like Sonic carrying Elise.
And
You
once
know, she could
again,
be
for a
dead.
section like this, you don't have a run button. The game debit cages you like that.
Oh,
You're gonna have to slowly walk.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair,
through the
I can
entire
see.
corridor.
To be fair, again, if the game managed to actually if the game actually managed to tell a compelling story and create a genuine bond between these two, I could see this working It's a very somber, sad scene, and the slow walking would help enhance the mood.
Alright.
Oh, the credits.
Start
Oh,
your
that's
final
the end of the
thoughts,
game?
please.
What happens? Hey, what happens if you fall off the ledge?
We
and
have
the
to-
credits are still
sorry.
going?
Sorry, guys, we have no time for a proper ending, so credits.
Alright,
No.
start,
What I mean is, what happens if like you're carrying it, you just decide to go back and fall off the ledge deliberately, and the credits are still going?
Alright, we start your final thoughts.
Honestly, it's like it feels like the worst of the other games, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Suddenly the Sand series doesn't look that bad, I guess, even though it doesn't take much to you.
Actually, no.
Okay.
No,
Well, okay. No, actually, that's actually interesting. How would you rank the ones that you've seen so far? From top to bottom.
I'd rank 1 and 3 as the least bland.
Okay.
I'd rank this one and the second one as being equal but on opposite extremes. The second one was just
Or within the bottom, I guess.
Oh boy.
no, actually, I think these are again equal but opposites. The second one was just generic rage. This one's just generic game.
That was a very
Okay, here we go.
That's my final thoughts anyway.
Okay, thanks. Hold on.
Remember, though, in the predictions, it was supposed to be Elika's. Oh, wait, no.
Well, that's what happens.
Actually, that was the pass. But remember, he laid her down there too.
Mine. Nah, it's nothing. Go on, Shira. Your final thoughts.
I'm sure it will be nothing, because did this even get a sequel?
We're even ripping off the Colossus now as well, kind of.
Yeah, about that.
Again, don't worry. Like I said, it's nothing at all. Just
Gio,
go.
we gotta cover it. You know we have to.
I'm sorry, Joe. I totally don't know what you're talking about.
There's another game that's worse, isn't there?
Let me guess. She magically is alive now.
You wish. You wish that was all that was wrong
See,
with
look
this.
at our efforts of what has put us so far. Like, I'm pretty sure. Look at how we accomplished. We managed to finally purify the land, and now the land will finally return to its glorious state, 3 by 3.
But what about the donkey?
Oh, right, that's right. I forgot to mention. I'll say it later. Anyway, go on, Shiri.
All right, first go forward, and you'll meet the first Colossus. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm surprised you're still able to walk around. Like, where are you even
seriously,
going?
Look at this. No, I'm sorry. Look at this. This is such a big rip-off of the temple in Shadow of the Closet. Like, the overall architecture, like, it's very
Pedro,
similar.
You noticed that just now? We've been through the entire game.
I know, but this is the first time it's been this blatant.
I think lying the person on, the table there kind of just, set it in stone.
Teo,
Look
I'll
at all
just
the things we've purified.
how about this, Teo? Having her in that altar makes all the difference for me.
You
Like,
know-
that's just so blatant.
You know what I love? The
Let's
prince.
go see what we accomplished so far. Anyway, go on, Shiri. Don't worry.
It's a lot of sand.
You know what I
Nothing's
love?
happening.
The prince's absolute lack of reaction. Like, aside from. Actually, no, he didn't even cry out
Well,
no.
Jova,
He just
well,
laid
Jova-
it there and it's like, okay, bye.
Jova, to be fair, I can understand the whole, deciding not to tell anything, because in some cases it's more powerful than having a character breaking down and go like, "Why did you have to die?
I get
What
that,
am
I get
fighting
that.
for?"
Here's the thing, though. They have done absolutely nothing to show that this guy is sad about her dying. Like, he hasn't said a word. He hasn't even shown it on his face. Like, a simple showing
But
it
the
on
slow
one's
walking,
face could do
Jova.
it. He's literally just
Yeah, Jova,
carried
what
her.
about the slow walking?
So? I mean, yes.
Like
Here's the
the
thing.
Tokyo Ghoul slow walking.
Well, here's the thing. Carrying a body is heavy, so of course he's slow carrying her.
Ah, look at that beautiful tree.
Yes, aren't our efforts so... Ah, boy.
I'm sure it's nothing. Go on, Shiro. Don't worry.
Oh, and
I
you just murdered
see.
everything.
I see what you're doing.
No, go
Getting-
on, by all means.
I see what's happening, but go ahead then.
Like, are you sure I should say something? Because this kind of seems important.
What do you think of the game so far, at least?
Okay. Like, I wouldn't say it's as awful as it first appeared because
Actually,
it's
yeah,
short
that's a good point since it's your first impression and everything.
It's short enough that if I were to play this, I would just see it as, you know, just a little time waster. Not something I'd feel like I'd have to chug through. So, like, if the game was any longer, then, you know, maybe I'd be saying something different. But I think it's short enough that you think, oh, okay, it's just a boring handful of hours.
It's funny you mention that, Shirai. It's very funny you put it that way.
What?
So let me see. So are we purposely killing all the trees so we can revive her?
I don't know what you're talking about, Pedro. Everything's fine.
Everything
so
is
basically-
fine. Everything
You
is fine.
selfish dickhead!
Everything is
Yes.
fine. Everything is fine.
Yes, developers. I
Everything
also
is
played
fine.
Shadow of the Colossus, and it was much better than your game.
No. Here's the thing. With Shadow of the Colossus, you were accomplishing something. You weren't just undoing a lot of hard
Not just that,
turmoil.
you were pretty much bamboozled through the entire... Yeah, so you can kind of start seeing what was going on, but probably around the... wannabe general's 5th or 10th or 7th Colossus at the very least.
Hell, by the time of the Dragon Colossus, you knew you were the bad guy.
Yeah, but that was 13. I'm pretty sure at least in some cases maybe around that time.
Hey, to be fair,
Well,
to be
you say
fair,
that, but the music was kind of the entire time going, you probably shouldn't
to be
be
fair,
doing
to be fair, Dirge had it coming. That guy was a prick. Oh
The
boy,
music was,
ominous
the music was
whispering.
fantastic, though,
That's
for
a
Shadow of
good
the Colossus.
sign.
I'm sorry, Joe, but look at that. My parkour stretching is perfectly fine. Look
Yes,
at
Anyway.
everything is perfectly fine, but that's the thing. In Shadow of the
that.
Colossus,
Yeah, okay, sure. What do you think of the supposed relationship, not romantic necessarily, relationship between the prince and Elika? Like
It's
supposed
not developed enough
characterization.
for me to, it's not developed enough for me to actually consider it one. She's just
Yeah,
like a
okay.
companion, and they have like random flirty moments, and
But-
that's basically it.
but sure, he would totally doom the world for her. Totally, right? I mean,
Yeah, sorry, I'm not
But-
buying.
Who could even how could you even do that, Joe? It's not like you can just snap some twigs and be done with it.
I know that's exactly what's going on here, but I still like, nah, sorry, there isn't a relationship
Okay,
here.
here's a more easy thing to talk about, Shiroi, the gameplay.
Standard, I guess.
I think you'd like
Do
to
you
see.
think
Aside
that's
from the
on-
no dying thing, that can die,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
I think you'd like the Sand Trilogy better. Like, imagine a more intricate parkour system that actually punishes death. And speaking of punishing death,
This is our punishment, isn't it?
this comes out of nowhere. This has no context. There's no reason for him to be doing this. And yet we're doing this. Like, screw Shadow of the Colossus that had Wander doing it for a woman he loved. I mean, sure, we barely knew about them, but at least we knew enough that he actually loved her. Here...
Yeah, we knew enough about their relationship,
Well, here's the thing, Jova.
even with barely knowing anything. That's
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, Jove and Shiroi. Shadow of the Colossus was not about the romance between Wander and Mono. It was about the ethical dilemma of what, how far should
would you go?
How far should you go?
Oh, we know that, but in terms of the character's motivations, that's why he was doing it specifically.
Exactly. But the romance itself is just an excuse for the story itself. It's not an actual focus.
Which is fine. But still, it's like their relationship actually felt like a romantic relationship, whereas this doesn't.
Here's a major problem also.
That's because instead of telling, Ueda showed it to you by just having a simple moment where he looks sad at her.
Like,
And that's all. And that tells you everything you need to know. You don't need to know anything more.
let's think about this context-wise, folks. We are officially undoing all our hard work. And believe it or not, the worst is yet to come.
So basically, I was right. This is a neat little time waster.
I repeat, the worst is yet to come, Shiroi.
What do you mean?
Ah, what a beautiful tree.
Sure.
Reminds me of one of
Alright,
those-
let's kill the tree of
Aw.
life. Take this, Terrence Malick. Your film sucks ass.
Shiroi, if you thought your time was wasted now, Shiroi, get a load at what's about to come.
Get it? Raymond 2 reference, of all things.
Why?
Get a load of this.
For context, in Raymond 2, at one point in the story, the villain actually gets a hold of one of your collectibles and eats it, and your permanent amount total of the collectibles downs by 1 as a result.
Is it me or the game? Is the game glitching a little bit?
No, that's all part of the
it's
I saw
not
some
you.
texture. I saw some texture popping.
It's okay. It's okay
no.
that
No,
it's,
no, actually, it's not you, Dweebs. Don't worry. It's perfect. That's exactly what happens. And don't worry. We're about to get to the best thing ever. Just pay it. Just give it a couple of more seconds, and the madness will be complete.
it's okay.
Anyway,
that
the
Teo-
only
It's okay that Teo killed the Tree of Life. Take that turn, Zamalek. You
Even
fucked
the
up
only
my
other
balls.
thing I have to
Missing
say is that the music is serviceable, and
Okay.
that's it. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's
All right,
serviceable.
1 second.
Let me guess. He tries to revive her, but doesn't. Oh. I thought he was gonna say it doesn't work.
Because I love you.
Say something, you doofus.
Punch him.
And now, here we go,
Here we
the actual
go.
trailer shot.
What?
And
Oh.
And how fitting all of this is happening while the frame rate is dying.
Not just that,
The
her clothes
frame
were
rate is
clipping to her
dying.
arms.
The
The
game is
frame rate
literally
is
falling the fuck apart, like literally and figuratively.
don't you see, guys?
Crazy.
It's the secretly
The
the
game
world
literally
games
dies in
Not
front
just
of you.
not just that, Teo. That was a very poetic ending. You know why? What we just saw was the beautiful visual metaphor of the Prince of Persia franchise crumbling and dying.
Pretty much.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. I have to add an addendum. This is so much better than the Sonic 06 Erasure. This is great.
Anyway, for
This is hilarious. I'm sorry.
Since I sped up the credits, this is, in case you're wondering, the fight against Sophia, the goddess in Final Fantasy XIV Advance Ward. Anyway, go on, Pedro.
Like I said, that was a beautiful visual metaphor for we literally just watch the Prince of Persia series crumble and fall apart and die. That's so tragically beautiful. It's not even funny.
Like, I don't even know why people thought that was bad. That's funny.
That's the thing, Shiroi. It may be funny to you, Shiroi, but the visual metaphor saddens people like Teo, who actually like this franchise.
Sure.
Not just
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
not just
that's
that,
true.
Imagine
but
you're a
also
Prince of
it makes
Persia
the entire-
fan who spent
in case you're,
full
in case
price
you were
on this.
wondering, yes, it makes the entire game completely and utterly pointless. It's just like 13-2 all over again. Aren't you so glad?
Again,
And Sonic 06.
I
this.
don't know, Teo. I'll still take this over 13-2 because 13-2 at least, because this at least didn't waste as much as my time. But
Oh,
go ahead,
Pedro.
Hold on, Jova. Go on, Pedro.
Okay, so this game is definitely the worst of the Prince of Persia games. Like, I'll even take Warrior Within over this. At least Warrior Within, like I said before, at least Warrior Within was fascinating. Fascinatingly terrible. This is just, for the most part, just really, really devoid of any kind of personality and unique identity of itself. Like I've said, the visual, whoever did the art direction, it feels like he had no idea what visual style he wanted to go for, so he created this very awkward middle ground that doesn't really cater to the strengths of either of them. The music, like Shiro said, is, I guess, serviceable, but it's not memorable at all. I forget it in T- minutes. Yep, forgot it. The gameplay is fucking useless because it amounts to basically a complete cakewalk because there's very little to no challenge, which wouldn't be so much of a problem if the gameplay mechanics themselves were more fun to use, but they don't really look to be all that fun to use because you're basically just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. There's so little variety compared to the previous games, like in how you would interact with the environment. And here, it's basically the exact same formula repeated on loop. First, you fight a boss. Then you have this platforming combined with flying around in those little thingies that are on the wall. And that's basically it. And you're just doing this for 8 hours, I guess, or however long this game takes. And it doesn't look all that fun compared to the previous games. That's it, really. The story is so mediocre up until the ending, and then the ending is where the game completely shits the bed, and it's like the writers realized, did we actually have a point to make with this story?
Nah, fuck everything.
Did we actually have some kind of, idea from where we wanted the story to go? What do you mean? Like, we're just, we're having this romance thing. Oh, God, the romance sucks. Is that really all we have? Well, yeah, kind of. Well, we need to have some kind of incredibly clever climax, to leave an impression on the player. Okay, you want a climax that leaves an impression? Here you go, motherfucker.
Oh,
you
God.
kill all of you kill all of nature so you can get laid. There you go. Shadow of the Colossus, bitch.
Well, the permanent frame rate dives into a crawl. I sincerely hope it's better in the PC version, but I'm not taking my hopes that much.
Hey, you know what I liked about Shadow of the Colossus also? Wander actually got punished and, the evil demon got sealed away by people who knew better. Here, no punishment whatsoever for the prince as far as we know for this.
Oh yeah, the princess Mono in the Shadow of the Colossus was just a victim that was completely not even in control of anything that was going on. So, but the princess here, like, she's nothing but a fucking plot device, really. She's just, like I said, that particular moment where he's walking slowly, I can understand why would the design choice there, because it would. I can understand that because if the game actually had him genuinely have a sad reaction, like, okay, yes, like Theo said, yeah, you don't have to have the character break down in tears. Okay, fine, just have a little brief moment where he looks distraught, something like that, like a brief subtle moment, just to show us, not tell us, but show us that he at the very least her death at the very least did make an impact on him, something. But no, instead the slow walking is a nice thought that's a nice idea, but it's not enough. You should have had at least one facial expression to really drive that home. And then have the slow walking. That would have worked fine for me. But no, the slow walking was not enough. But aside from that, yeah, the story completely shits the bed, and god damn it, this. Yeah, like Theo said, technically we've been ripping off Shadow of the Colossus for a while now, but got an eco as well. Again, the developers played eco in Shadow of the Colossus, and they thought they would make a game like that. And this particular climax is where it becomes the most blatant. Like, seriously, these guys played Shadow of the Colossus, but they completely misunderstood what made it great. Completely. That's it, really. It's a game that for the most part is a very mediocre game, but yeah, that ending can really leave you a bad taste in your mouth, especially if you're a fan of the series, because of the incredibly tragically apt visual metaphor for the series that it is. It's quite astonishing.
And now you know why I felt the way I did around the first part of this game. Or
next.
Jova.
This game's a tragedy. It's a freaking tragedy. I shouldn't say anything more, but whatever. I'll expand on my points a bit more. The music is serviceable at best. And the music is the best thing about this game. The artistic style, while it looks cool at first, you really start to see the problems as early as, like, the second or third part of our playview. Like, sure, the cell shading looks fine at first until you realize that it doesn't mesh well with the actual environments. By that I mean the cell shading on the characters. The environments are not cell shaded. Like, maybe if they could have found a better way to blend them, that would have been better. Well, okay, how about the actual story itself? It's horrendous! I mean, okay, it starts off mediocre, but that ending propels it into horrendous territory. Hey, kids, we're going to establish this loving relationship between the prince and Elika, even though we did jack squat of all. Like, even when Elika dies, the prince doesn't show any emotion whatsoever. Sure, there's a slow walking, but it doesn't have anything building up to it. It's just, oh, Elika died. No reaction from the prince. In fact, even when Elika asks the prince why he revives her, he doesn't even have anything to answer. It's like the writers knew they hadn't come up with a good reason for it. So there you go, guys. The bad guy essentially wins because the prince was
an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say, seeing as how there's no other reason given whatsoever. The world is doomed, congrats. Oh, and he never finds his donkey. So when you get down to it,
Actually, I can answer that. Similar to how, for example, the Russo brothers have given some minor technical details after the Major Avengers movie, the developers actually gave a tidbit of what happened to Farah, the donkey. She's dead.
Joy.
That's
So unlike aggro, the donkey doesn't live.
Not just that, it makes the entire quest for the prince, the entire surface reason for the prince to do this whole shenanigan, pointless.
He didn't accomplish a single thing.
Don't you see, Teo? Wonder had a horse, therefore the prince has a donkey.
A donkey that
Never
never
mind
shows up.
and you name it after the love interest and the most recurring companion of the Sand saga.
It's like that's
Anyway, go on.
it's a major problem with this reboot. It suffers what some of the worst reboots do. It just feels like something that makes fun of the original trilogy while not being nearly as good like the DMC reboot. It's like
Here's an idea. Instead of taking inspiration from Shadow of the Colossus, why not take inspiration from, Prince of Persia?
yeah, like seriously, this doesn't feel as Prince of Persia-esque as it should. The controls are a lot more scripted. Death is a joke. Sure, there's some collectibles here and there, but at the end of the day, aside from, unlocking the paths to get the ending and whatnot, do they really matter? No. No, they don't. Like, you actually felt challenged to get the collectibles in the original Sans trilogy. I will be the first to admit the Sans trilogy has aged, but it's still something that I can look back and treasure, considering what it did lead to. It did lead to breakthroughs in the game industry here and there. It introduced some new ideas or freshened up old ones and made them feel like new. And then this reboot comes along. Like, what? This reboot feels like it had no idea what it wanted to be. Well, actually, scratch that. It knew what it wanted to be. It just wasn't Prince of Persia. And I guess you could say, oh, but it's a reboot, it's supposed to change some things. Not necessarily. A reboot is supposed to freshen things up, not change it to the point where people don't recognize it.
Alienated that much.
Like I said before, if you want to make something different, actually make something different.
Like, it's clear what happened with the sales. Sure, the game sold well at first because people were excited for a new Prince of Persia, but word of mouth quickly spread thanks to new platforms here and there like Steam and the fact that the internet was on the rise, and thus this did not hit the sales expectations. What a shock, Ubisoft. Maybe you should have given one of your beloved franchises at the time more love and care.
What are you talking about?
Oh, Shiroi, believe it or not, the worst is yet to come. Tio, you take the floor.
I'll give my final thoughts. But first, let me start off with something saying quickly. One of the things that I unfortunately don't show because it will require really about a bit of time is the fact that either by 100% completion or anything, you can unlock some extra costumes. The prince gets a costume based on Altair from the first Assassin's Creed, while Elika can be either dressed up like Farah from Sands of Time, or from Jade from Beyond Good and Evil. So that's nice, I guess. But aside from that, then there's the thing with the donkey that I mentioned with Farah. But let me cite also one thing. For another edition of TV Tropes is clearly not the impartial side that it wants to be. At the Your Mileage May Vary section page of this game, the Fridge Brilliance note says something like this. Get this, Pedro. For players who felt like the ending wasted all of their effort, there was a solution for them. Turn the game off and stop playing. The credits roll as the prince carried Elika to the altar. Basically, the game was telling them, hey, you can stop playing now, game's over. There you go, Pedro. If I want to enjoy the game, I just need to turn it off before I should.
Here's an idea. Like, if you maybe that could work if you made it so that there's two different endings.
You'd
Not
think.
just that. Well, not really. Not just that. This advice basically tells me that I should just ignore the problem. Like, no. But anyway, let me just say this quickly to recap. Because like I stated also around the first couple of parts, since I also am the one that have been more attached to this game, I dislike the combat system. I absolutely loathe the lack of challenge in you not dying in this game. However, I still actually like the art style presentation, at least for the characters, and the score. Yes, I understand that the environment should have been, developed as well for that. But I don't know, I kind of, especially for 2008, I kind of really like what we did with the character design. It's not too different from, say, a Telltale video game, for example, with the black lines and on the face defining, for example, lineaments. The problem is that it's stuck in a game that doesn't allow you to explore that properly. The dialogue, shots between the Prince and Elika are stuck, as you can imagine. There's not much. There are not much cutscenes unless you want to count those in the combat. But that would just basically confirm that the combat is scripted in that kind of way. And in some cases it kind of is, because sometimes the enemies chain attacks one after the other, giving you absolutely no room to breathe. You may have noticed that. And the story is just, it's basic at best. An ancient evil awakens. Go seal it. Oops! Turns out that your power boner is too stronger. Well, whatever. The world is doomed now, I guess. However, I would still like this because it's based, like I said, on Zoroastrism. One thing that was not being used that much in in representation in modern media. So it would have been a cool thing to introduce a lot of new people to it, to see the creativity spark from it. I guess it's kind of the video game equivalent of Gods of Egypt. It's taking something that has not been utilized and do something really bad with it. To the point where the audience was supposed to be captivated by it, ended up basically rejecting it because it's a pile of garbage.
Well, mind you, this game has much better CGI than Gods of Egypt.
Well, I'll leave that judgment to you, whoever lives. But anyway, and this ending. I know that I should say, I didn't give a shit about the story, therefore I don't care about the ending. But honestly, even so, these endings feel really like a slap in the face. These type of endings where they just basically tell you that everything that you did at this point was basically pointless. I would argue, Shiri, that Sonic 06 at least had a point. We did technically erase the, Solaris from the existence.
Yeah.
Both here and in 13.2, we basically ran around in circles, and at the end of the day, everything was undone for the sake of having the bad guy winning. So that's kind of insulting, if you ask me. Again, I don't want to feel like all the hours that I invested into it, or as much as, shorter they may have been in this game, but you get what I mean. All the effort that I invested in a game is basically rendered moot by having the developers basically come up with a middle finger and say, yeah, fuck you. So yeah, as far as reboots go, this is just one of the worst to me. Not lying. Mind you, it's not, say, mean-spirited like some of the cutscenes of, say, DMC, or just plainly bad like Bomberman Act Zero. Bomberman Act Zero, technically speaking, on a technical level, is way worse than this. But it's still not a good representative of it. But that's how it is. So that was Prince of Persia 2008. Or at least that's what I will tell if the game was actually over.
How much more is there left?
Ubisoft, for 2008 that no one was doing that around the time. Because people complained a lot about this ending. So Ubisoft, in a couple of months, released a DLC episode, of all things.
Oh.
Paid, mind you. Like, at least EA had the common sense to make the good ending not
for the
paid.
Wikipedia, for citing business reason, this is not available for the Steam version. So the PC players only get just the bad ending. But don't worry, it's not like the supposed ending, epilogue, as it's called, as you will see, ideally serves to explain why the prince just did what he did, to justify his reason. But believe me, it's complete utter bullshit, as you will see. But guess what? We have 3 more parts of this shit. So look forward to that, people.
And believe it or not, guys, it's about to get worse.
Oh, I'll probably end up redacting everything I said.
That's why I said, Shiroy, be on your guard.
So see you for that.
See you then.
See ya.
See ya.